Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 136 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon. We got Damon back this week. Missed you, Damon.
Yeah.
You good? Did you miss us, David, or did you enjoyed your...
No, definitely not.
Definitely
not. I mean, it's been busy. I got to go to Tennessee and meet some listeners, right? That's always fun. Got to go to a really good hotel, eat some good food. And this weekend, luckily enough, it kind of worked out because normally I would have been out this weekend, but swimming ended for my son yesterday night. And then they drove back from the Charlotte area. And
you're down my way.
Yeah. I didn't go, though, because my other son, like I said, had a soccer tournament, so I was dealing with that. I was coaching, because, again, they're all 17-year-olds playing in a 3v3 tournament. They still need an adult to hold the clipboard, if nothing else.
Just to hold the clipboard?
I mean, to sign the paperwork, hold the clipboard, be an adult. Yeah. So, yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, we're happy to have you back. We had a fun time last week, but obviously, it's always good when the three of us are together. But it seems like everybody's getting their shirts now. Their Haunted River Country shirts are coming in.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So this will be the last week you can purchase. I think that we already have an idea for the second shirt. I think it's going to be something around the golden button. I feel like
we just got to figure out what that's going to look like.
Yeah,
right? Something a little more subtle.
I think it will definitely be more subtle.
Yeah, we're in the early planning phases of it.
So yeah, that's going to be something more towards a November time frame. But again, these things can only happen if we can recoup costs on what we did previously. So if you have some opportunity and have some money to support the show, I mean, shirts, like I said, would be great if you could purchase a Haunted River Country this week. And then, like I said, we're going to shut down that store August 1st. So, yeah, but it's been nice. I've worn mine a few times.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Trevor should be getting his soon, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It got through customs. That's the hard part, right?
Yeah, we were talking about this on the pre-show that, mail delivery to Canada is less than stellar. So I'm sure I will be the last one to get mine.
I have to say I've been really enjoying all of the posts in the group of people that bought their stuff. Yeah. Especially big shout out to Francisco for that TikTok video, which was awesome. I know nothing about TikTok either, so I think it was TikTok, right?
Yeah, I have watched TikToks in the past, and I get there's filters and formats you can use for different things, so I bet, very cool that Francisco took the time to set that up. So we really appreciate it.
It was pretty. I mean, it was pretty funny, and I had to get a good laugh at it. I think, if you haven't seen it, join our group and check it out.
So the other interesting thing is as of right now, we're still working on our Patreon logo. It seems like we're in the final stages of that. Actually, again, multitasking as I do, I'll be emailing back the artist while I'm on this podcast, of course. And we should get that rolling also. And then it's in Tom's hands. Once artwork is out of my hands, then it's always in Tom's hands after that.
Well, listen, the Patreon's essentially ready to go. We're just waiting on that logo. So that's something we'll be launching in the coming weeks here. So probably, I think we could probably say by the end of August, right? I mean,
that sounds good. That sounds
doable, right?
Let's plan for that, but as you guys know, things don't always happen as we plan. Yeah,
of course. And I'm going to tell you that while this is kind of a combination of all of our thoughts, I know some other people that jumped on that Discord were subject to the first revision of the logo, and I was telling Tom and Trevor that I'm going to be making my own shirt, a 101 with the original logo, sketch-wise. Actually, I have the sketches for high quality sketches from Haunted River Country too. I might have to make myself another 101.
I mean, you can do that. Yeah.
I'm going to have my
really
own.
Can't stop you.
I'm going to have my own Teespring store.
You can just open up your own Teespring store and just order one shirt.
Absolutely. So that would be funny. But again, I will adhere to the numbers. Dan was very upset if, again, any of these shirts that we, purchased for our kids or moderators or anything like that didn't adhere to the 200, which they obviously will have to, I guess. But don't be surprised in the future if we unvault this for a giveaway or something like that a year later, because that is definitely a possibility, but you won't see the store open for purchase again.
I think it's really funny though that you got your shirts and then your kids were like, we want shirts too, and you were like, weren't sure if they were trolling you or not.
Yeah, it's always very difficult to figure out what they will wear, what they won't. Like, I'm getting very good at that though, in terms of like, if I see something that my wife or my mother wants to order for my daughter or my sons, I'm just like, they're not wearing that. They're not wearing that. So I'm getting good at that. But the other thing, like I said, I just want to say is I did go to Tennessee. So I was visiting University of Tennessee with my middle son for school for swimming, and we stayed at the Tennessean. So I can tell you that it was an experience like no other. It was like you're famous. It's a very luxury, high-end hotel where you have somebody at your beck and call. It's a little bit like Disney in terms
You're
of
like
DVs.
a butler?
So not for us specifically, but there is a person that's kind of in charge of that for the hotel. And the hotel is not large. We ended up so I didn't know what I was doing for vacation this year. So I ended up with, getting in a nice suite, because I didn't know if both my boys were coming or just the one, but actually both of them came. And it was nice. So you kind of, they were able to be like, hey, so, I know your son's swimming today. Do you need a car to the pool? Or do you need, when we arrived, there was like drinks, and, they remembered what you had to drink. And, food wise, we actually ended up eating at the hotel one night, and the food was really good, and they remembered everything and what everyone liked. It was just very, over the top in terms of
nice.
Yeah, it was nice. And like I said, we got to meet Chris and Juanita, and met them for breakfast at a nice breakfast place in Knoxville. It was fun. It was a fun trip. It was a fun trip because, again, I didn't know what I was doing this year. So that was the one trip that was kind of like, let me kind of plug that in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So not to go back to what we were talking about before, but with the shirts, I don't even remember what I was going to mention.
I didn't wear my shirt, though.
Oh, you didn't wear your shirt?
No, I didn't wear my shirt. I didn't wear any of my shirts.
I actually haven't ordered a shirt for myself yet. I really need to get on that.
You should do that.
Yeah, I just realized, I may be in the same boat as you, Damon, that my son may decide he wants one of these shirts. But if I don't get it before the end of the week, then...
Oh, he might get his for Christmas, maybe.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, not because you're holding it, just because that's how long it may take.
Yeah. I mean, if by the time we decide to order one and it ships up here, yeah, it may be a Christmas gift.
I think I'm going to get myself one of those zip up hoodies, because I really liked how that came out.
I like how they came out, but I say that Dan definitely made a valid point.
The
logo on the hoodie is smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but on the zip up hoodie though, it's different. On the hoodie with the pocket in the front, the picture's way smaller. Yeah.
No, it's smaller on the zip up one too.
Oh really? Is that much smaller? Okay. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that, but I mean, I like how
it's still very nice though.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
like I when it came to my house, like I didn't see it for a few days because like everyone was wearing it besides me. So okay, whatever.
Yeah, and by the way, if anybody does have an issue with their shirt size or getting sent the wrong shirt, sorry, Tanya, sorry about that. Please contact Teespring; they will fix it for you. And if they don't, let us know, and we will fix it for you. So, I know there was a size issue here and there. Those are things that are going to pop up whenever you order clothes, right? So,
of course, and being valued listeners, and we enjoy all the conversation. We're more than willing to help out where it's needed.
Absolutely. So if you do have a problem with Teespring, let us know. We'll help you out. Okay, cool. So anything else you guys want to talk about before we get into questions and such?
No, like I'm going to say, though, that the only thing that's really keeping me here is this Galactic Starcruiser.
Yeah, what do you think?
I'm just saying
where I put it.
Yeah, I like that. But what I did say to myself, I said, oh, perfect. After Starcruiser's done, I can definitely go get some lunch. All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, well, I put it there for specific reasons. So anyway, so Casey wants to know what's your Mount Rushmore of Disney animated movies.
Okay, hold on. Before we answer this, can you guys help me understand what Mount what that
four,
means?
top four top movies. That's
top
it.
four. Yeah.
Top. Oh, okay. All right. Top 4 movie. Okay.
Yeah. So like Mount Rushmore would mean that like they go for eternity as your top 4 and they carved in stone.
Yeah.
Got it.
You can't
Okay,
change
Mount
them.
Rushmore, yeah.
Disney animated movies.
Now, does that count Pixar? Is Pixar count there? Or is it just?
I think
Disney
it has to.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think that people use that term interchangeably.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't. This is tough. I mean, Toy Story 1 on there, not even a question for me.
Has to. Yeah.
But I wonder to myself, is 2 on there? I kind of think it might be. I think Toy Story 2. So really for me, it's just, I need 2 of them.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's so difficult because I want to lean towards newer ones, but I mean, Bambi's pretty solid.
Wow, you go way back.
Yeah, Bambi's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Outside of Bambi and the 2 Toy Stories, I may say Meet the Robinsons because I don't know another Disney movie that I've watched that many times, and that if it's on television while I'm flipping through, that I'm just gonna watch. And I think that means it's like Back to the Future for me. Back to the Future, like if that's on, I'm watching. Meet the Robinsons is on, I'm watching. I mean, that's just me. So that's what I'm going with. I'm gonna go with this weird off the cuff. Like I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
Bambi, 2 Toy Stories, Meet the Robinsons. How's that?
That's pretty good. I think Toy Story would be on mine. I think I got to throw Lion King in there. I gotta throw that in there. I'm literally looking at a list.
That's a good choice. I mean, that's a good choice. I didn't love Lion King, but that's a good choice. Like I go with if it was on, if I see Lion King as I'm passing through, not doing it really.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not keeping it on.
You know what movie I love that I don't know if this would be on everybody's list, but it's one that is like you're describing. If it's on TV, I'll watch it. Is The Incredibles. The first Incredibles, love that movie. I could watch it anytime.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that one's up there for me. Man, I'm trying to think of another one here.
I know because it's got to be like, and that's not to say like most Disney movies are pretty good.
Yeah.
But if you ask me for my top ones, right, it makes it a little bit harder because I can't just give you good.
DuckTales, the movie doesn't make it for you, Damon?
I mean, I don't necessarily consider that a theater release, and I was kind of limiting myself to theater releases.
You know what I'm going to throw up there too? Aladdin. That's a movie I'll watch anytime.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's a movie I'll put on there too. I think like Aladdin, Lion King, I'll watch anytime. Toy Story, if it's on, I'm watching it. Yeah, man. I mean, and The Incredibles. Those are probably my 4. I think I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try and approach this a little bit differently. That I'm going to look at different phases of my life. So when I was very little, The Rescuers was actually a movie that stuck with me. So that was something that I could sit down and watch. Like when I was a kid, that was I could sit down and watch that show pretty much any time. There's just something about it. I don't even know what it was. I think it was the animation, everything to it. Just, it always grabbed my attention.
That's an interesting choice. I like it.
Yeah. And then going to, a bit older. Yeah. I agree with you on Aladdin. Aladdin was kind of that same thing for me. Like when it came out, it was, it was a fun movie. I could watch it. Robin Williams was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then going to newer movies, and you guys may disagree with me on this, but Cars is actually up there. But the main reason for that is because that was something that when my son was very little, that was a movie that stuck for him. So
my kids as well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's a thing for me because of that. And then more recent than that, it would be Moana. I really liked Moana.
I never saw Moana.
You gotta watch Moana, man. It's a good movie.
Yeah, that was a movie that I think we sat down and watched it
about
7 or 8 times when it came out. So
oh wow,
yeah.
Those are some good choices. The first Cars movie is a really good movie for sure. They really got off the rails a little bit later, but the first movie's a good movie.
But no, the first one, like I said, it's again, my son could sit down and watch it, and I enjoyed just sitting there and watching it with him. So
Man, I feel like I miss like Finding Nemo on there. I feel like Finding Nemo is another one of those ones I could watch a million times.
It is pretty good. I mean, it is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good list. I like it. All right, I think we answered that one pretty well. So Nick via email, potential question for the next episode. I hear a lot of chatter about fireworks shows changes, and people's emotions to schedules. How do you think the show changes and the timing of the changes have to do with simple business and supply chain decisions? So I'm not going to read this whole thing, but also meant to say too, says, regardless, thanks for doing a show. Been a listener since the very beginning. Love catching the conversation. I mean, I think we talk about that kind of stuff on the show sometimes, right? It's like, everyone's like, well, why isn't the Beauty and the Beast show back? Or why isn't Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor back? Right? Like, part of that is because they have to recast people. Like, these are, these are positions that are not like, that everybody can do, right? They need specific people. They do casting, and casting takes time, right? And so we'll talk a little bit later about some of that stuff is coming back, and they probably started that process, months ago to cast these people back and bring them back. I do think that they have to make decisions like that, especially a place the size of Disney. We were talking last week about the sugar straws, right? Like, they can't just change to sugar straws. They need a place that can provide them 100 million straws a year, right? So all of that stuff, I think, factors in, and I don't think people think about that kind of stuff because we just like expect to show up and, oh, hey, this stuff is there and this stuff works, and, you have this available, but, so sometimes that's just not how things work, But it's interesting you're talking. Nick is talking specifically about like fireworks and stuff like that, and that could have something to do with it. I would think that a company like Disney, who I think uses more fireworks than any company on the planet, would probably have access to to some. I don't want to say expedited, but like, they have probably better access to those things than anybody else, and probably have a stockpile of a lot of stuff too, I would think.
I was going to say, I feel that, I'm almost, I shouldn't say I'm 100% certain on this, but I'm almost certain that, one, they employ engineers that deal with the fireworks. So I don't think that they're buying like pre-made fireworks. I think they actually have someone there that's building them out because, they're very specific fireworks that go off during the shows, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So
they might have a special manufacturer that does that for them, though, I would think.
Right. And you're right. I guess to that end, it's, they're not just, buying a whole bunch and saying, well, this is what we have. So what Nick was kind of alluding to is he was like, well, is it that, they ran Happily Ever After for a little while and then they're switching to, sorry, I can't remember the name of the new show now. But
oh man,
the 50th show, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm
forgetting what it's called.
But
it just got announced. Disney Enchantment. Disney Enchantment.
Yeah, so it's like people are. So what Nick is thinking is, are they just running out their stock so they can get to Disney Enchantment? I don't think that's the case. Because if that was the case, I feel that they wouldn't have such a hard stop on with the anniversary. Like I think it's, they know how to plan it out. And I think that the thing is that, they had planned for the last, year and a half for Happily Ever After to run and for everybody to have it. And I think this is just a scheduling thing. Honestly, yeah. I think that they knew that as of the 50th, they were going to switch to these new shows. It feels very jarring because, we just got back fireworks. And then it's like, oh yeah, now we're switching it. Right. So,
well, they have people whose whole job are to plan out their stock of things, right? So like if they know, hey, we're going to have X amount more of Happily Ever After, we need X amount of each one of these fireworks. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure they plan these things out very, months and months ahead of time because they know how this stuff, they have people whose whole job it is to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, the whole thing around the fireworks, like you said earlier, it's more around, one, people being able to run these shows, and two, they didn't bring it back because there was gathering restrictions. That's been the bigger driver here, I think, than whether or not they could actually do the fireworks shows, is that they didn't want people gathering in the hub until, restrictions said that they could allow for a mass gathering of people.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's, and I think they want to bring fireworks back. That's, it's interesting because I saw somebody on Facebook claiming they were like a cast member and they were complaining that that a lot of the entertainment hadn't come back yet. And it's like, I think there's reasons for everything. I don't think it's Disney cheaping out on stuff. I think, like I said before, some of it is casting, some of it is, they're waiting for the anniversary. Some of it is, there's a lot of different reasons for this kind of stuff, right? Like, I'm sure it's probably not easy to get stunt performers for for Indiana Jones, right? Like, Indiana Jones isn't reopened yet. Like, maybe it's hard for them to get stunt performers, or it's, some of this stuff is really specialized and it's probably hard for them to find cast members to do it. So, I think a lot of it is around that kind of stuff. It's more logistical than them just, not wanting to spend the money. Because I think they want to do fireworks because fireworks are a draw. They draw people in. They need people to come back, So, yeah, I don't think that it has too much to do with that. So, you want to read Cody's question?
Yeah. So, Cody says, if Disney implements a paid FastPass system at WDW, which rides would you pay for, if any? So, honestly, at this point in my life, I would not pay for. I don't feel that I would pay for anything.
All right.
Because we use fast passes, but if like thinking about it from, going to Magic Kingdom, there's nothing there right now. Or okay, right now I wouldn't pay for anything. Tron, I would probably pay for.
Since would you pay for if it was an option?
I don't know.
Yet, so you don't know, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I would or not. So there's that. And then, Epcot and Animal Kingdom, there's nothing there that I like. I would work around, either going at the beginning of the day or going at the end of the day for those, more high demand rides. But I don't feel there's a lot that I would actually pay for.
I think the only things I would pay for are maybe like, well, it really just depends. Like, because I would pay for Big Thunder if I wanted to get on it before we left. Like, you know what I mean? But that ride never has a long enough line where I'm like, I'm not going to wait standby for it. You know what I mean? Like it gets over an hour sometimes, but I mean,
but you can still catch it at 20 or 15 minutes.
Exactly. Sometimes you can catch it at a short line, right? So I think maybe Flight of Passage I would pay for. I think I'd pay for Rise of the Resistance. I'd pay for. That's probably it. I think that's all I would really pay for.
There's no way Rise of the Resistance would be part of this. I just don't.
I doubt it. I doubt it. Yeah. Well, because you know what the price would have to be, right? Like.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a family standpoint, I would probably pay for the stupid Pandora ride just to not have to wait in line. But
wait, the one you hate or the one you love?
I hate. The one I hate.
Okay.
Just to not have to wait in line for it. Maybe Soarin', maybe.
Oh yeah, Soarin' might be a good one actually.
Maybe Soarin'.
Sometimes that line is short and sometimes it's long too.
Yeah, you just never know. And I think if I was to do it though, I'd one park it and I'd probably try to do Soarin' Test Track, because you know what the problem with Test Track is that it's just forever broken.
Yeah.
So if I had the opportunity to not have to wait online and not have to risk always being on top of it, because when it's broken, you're perpetually checking. Is it open?
If there's thunderstorms too,
Yeah, and then if it's open,
like,
you're trying to rush over there, throwing off your whole game plan. And then if you're online for something else and it opens, you're just like, oh man. I might do that one just because it takes away a little bit of the stress.
I feel like Test Track is one of those ones that always has a long line. Like it's, like Soarin' you can catch sometimes with like a 15-minute line or it's over an hour, but Test Track is always like over an hour. It's very rare that you find Test Track at a short line. So that might be a good one.
I just realized something. You know what? I would not pay for Test Track, but Radiator Springs Racers I would pay for, but that's in Disneyland.
But that's in Disneyland, yeah.
Yeah. But same ride type, just
different theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just trying to think I don't think there's anything else I would probably pay for. We're going to have to see what happens. I still don't believe paid FastPass are coming to Disney World, but whatever.
I hope they are.
I know you hope they are.
Because I keep having the same conversation. People don't understand. There's only X amount of people are allowed in Disney.
Yeah.
That's it. Keeping the prices low doesn't change how many people are allowed in.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So how do you limit that? Disney as a company has to limit that. And wouldn't they want to make more money as they limit? I mean, as a business,
makes sense
I think
from a
they
business
would.
perspective.
My problem with it is that, the cost of these fast passes, being that I come from Canada, I have to tack on 20% onto the actual cost of these fast
You don't have to get them. That's
correct.
The thing, right?
That's why I'm saying I wouldn't pay for a lot of them because they're too expensive.
Well, and I liked Becky's follow-up question. Would it be different for you if you had a longer trip versus a one-day only trip? And I think the answer to that is yes. I think if it was a one-day only trip, I'm paying for several things. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because, if you only have one day, then, you want to make the best of your time, right? So, but if I'm there for a week, it's like, oh, okay, I'll just come back, the other day that we're going to come to Magic Kingdom and do it,
And I guess to further expand on that, too, I'm also of the opinion now, I can hit it on my next trip. Like even the last trip we did in 2019, there was a couple of things where we were like, oh, we didn't do this. And it was like, oh yeah, we'll get it next time. So,
well, there's also that too, from a DVC perspective, it's a little different because we're going so often, right? So it's like, oh, we'll get it next trip. Right. Yeah. But I guess there's certain things though, I feel like it's, when I did my October trip, I don't think we ever, oh no, we did go on, there was a trip that we didn't go on Thunder Mountain and it didn't feel like a complete trip to me. It felt like I missed out on something. You know what I mean? There's just certain rides to me that are the thing I have to hit that feels like we did a complete trip. And sometimes, and we missed it that one time just because of, I don't know, but a variety of circumstances led to us not making it on that ride. Right.
Yeah.
But it's certain rides that it feels a little weird not to go on. So I don't know. Huh. Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
No, I was going to say, I get it, but it's just hard to wrap my head around if this was my only trip for the next 5 years, I would be a little more inclined, but like you said, just the fact that we are going so often now, it just doesn't feel quite as impactful to me.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Do you want to read Kevin's question?
Sure. So Kevin says, with the likely possibility of when, 2042 contracts expire, Disney implementing Riviera-style restrictions on new contracts at these resorts, does this give you pause when hypothetically considering a 2054 or 2060 resort on resale? I know it's still a ways out, but options could potentially become very limited when that time rolls around. We're talking... This is
20 years from now.
Yeah, 20 to
Lot can change.
30 years from now. Yeah, it's...
I appreciate that Kevin's preparing for this eventuality.
Yeah.
I hope they do. That's always my goal. And I hope they make it retroactive to boot, but,
Damon wants everyone to have to buy direct.
They could. It's always possible.
I guess they could do that, but yeah. I'm glad we don't have a DVC resale market ad this episode.
I guess from where I'm standing, I have to think about when that time comes around, would I actually care? Would I still be at a place where I feel that I need to own DVC? That's my bigger thing right now.
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really have an answer to this question. I haven't really thought about it, but I don't know. That's tough. Who knows what kind of restrictions they're going to do in the future, or if they're going to do restrictions. I feel like there's no way to know, right? I don't have a good answer for this question, Kevin. I'm sorry. Do we want to do Jeremy's question now?
Yeah, let's move. I feel we could really. Sorry, Kevin. We could go down a real rabbit hole here, so I think it's best we back out for now.
But we appreciate the question, though. Yeah. We do. Jeremy wants to know, and this is the other Jeremy. There were several Jeremys in the group, but I don't mean to say that you're second Jeremy.
Are we going to have a Highlander competition?
We can do there can only be one. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. If forced to do a split stay, what's the best combination of resorts? So this is a tough question. I think it's hard.
I think for me they have to be distinct.
Okay.
I mean, my best choice. I mean, I'm going to throw Boardwalk in there.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm going to do like a beach and mountain, right? So I'm going to do Boardwalk and then some of the Wilderness Lodge, you know, whichever one, Copper Creek, whatever. Yeah, I'll do Copper Creek and Boardwalk.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
I've always wanted to do, and I'm not going to do this for a long time, but I've always wanted to do a split stay at 4 different resorts over maybe like a week and a half, where you stay close to each one of the parks, right? So you do a Magic Kingdom resort for a couple days, you do an Epcot area resort for a couple days, so like a boardwalk. Or
yeah, I mean, that sounds good, but you're losing so much time on check-in.
What do you mean? Oh, just
no,
you
just don't have access to a room.
Well, no, but you don't. I mean, you don't need to have that. You just have your bag sent over, and you go to the park like you normally would.
What if
and then
you
when
have
you get
to
back,
use the bathroom, and you need your privacy, and you don't like to use the Disney bathrooms?
I don't mind using the Disney bathroom, so I'm good.
I get it. I don't think that from the standpoint of the move, I'd need, like, if you could tell me 3 weeks, I could do 4. Maybe 2 weeks, I could do 4. But I just, you know, again, like if we just want to go back and just like rest up for an hour. Like, I like that ability too much.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I just think it would be fun to do that. You know what I mean?
I do 2, though. I do 2.
You do 2. So, like,
yeah,
what would
do
you
2
pick?
in a week? Yeah.
An Epcot and, like, a Hollywood Studios area. Although you could...
Well, no, I'm doing my Beach Mountain thing, man.
Well, I was going to say, you can totally... I mean, you can knock out Epcot and Hollywood Studios with the same resort, right? I mean, you could end up just staying at Boardwalk, and that kind of covers you for both, right? So,
yeah, that's true.
Same thing goes for if you're staying like Bay Lake Tower, you can do Magic Kingdom and Epcot, right?
That's true. Yeah. That's true. I mean, but it's not as close though, right? Like,
well, it's a monorail ride. Like,
yeah, it's a monorail ride.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see that as big of a deal, but
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean that would be my thinking is, stay something, on the monorail loop, and then I would probably. I know you guys have said Boardwalk. I would actually try and do like Bay Lake Tower Riviera would be my thinking. And I know that they're similar resorts, but yeah, it's just a very, it's the location change.
Riviera people look down on Bay Lake Tower people. Come on.
You think so?
I don't know.
Is that a thing
once
now?
I get my contract, I'll make sure to say that, but.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Well, and it's funny. I reached out to my guy because I'm ready to get this contract, knocked out and be done. I'm going to do, I think I'm doing 100 points and my parents are going to do a dual contract with me for 150. But like I emailed them on like Thursday and I would think that, I would have heard. No, maybe it was Wednesday. Maybe it was Wednesday and I emailed them like, hey, can we do this on Monday? And I haven't heard back yet. I'm a little.
You're talking about like your DVC rep?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't even have a rep anymore. Mine's gone.
Okay.
But I need to get a new one.
And I'm the sort of person that I'm not going to reach out again. I just won't buy. Like I'll just be like, oh well, I guess I'm not buying any points this time.
Jeez. Man, you gotta make sure that you follow up with Damon if you're a salesperson, right? That's that's funny.
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's like it's going to be. All right, let's do it. Like decision, that's it. Like, and I just don't want to deal with it again. Yeah. So I'm also having this interesting discussion with the people that we travel with. And it seems like they're kind of, they might end up selling their contract and kind of be out on Disney, just out. Yeah. So I need to start auditioning new travel families.
Wow.
Right. I need somebody. So here's are the requirements. So I'm looking, for a week for a year, preferably around Thanksgiving. They have to have kids that are in travel sports so they understand that whole sort of lifestyle. And I feel like since my boys are so much older, they'd have to have, I guess, an 11-year-old girl probably that's into some sort of travel sports. It doesn't have to match up or anything, but then no younger kids because I don't want to deal with that. Right. They can have one that's 11-ish, 12, 11, 10 at this point. Girl preferable. That would be fine. But no, and they can have older kids and that's cool too, but no younger kids. I'm past that stage. I can't do Disney vacations like that. Like I've done it already. I'm out on that. So I need people to start sending in their applications for that.
All right then.
And next week we'll start up our unicorn watch.
Yeah. I know. I feel like we were really lucky to have somebody to travel with, but I understand how people kind of grow out of Disney, especially what, I think it becomes a little bit different when you have one child, because you go through this Disney experience. And again, like, even if you love Disney and even if they like Disney, right? Not love it, but like it, as they get older, right? There's this huge gap of time where they're kind of doing their own thing. Yeah. And it kind of makes you feel like, well, all right, well, what am I doing? But when you have multiple kids, that time is just so much longer. And when the oldest one starts doing their own thing, you learn to adapt a little bit. You still have some time with the younger ones. I just feel it's a little bit different sometimes for certain families, sure, especially when their kid gets a little bit older, because, you know, there's definitely a lot of college kids that while they will go to Disney, I think they would be, you know, probably looking to go towards, you know, a resort in, I don't know, like maybe, you know, Colorado ski trip or, you know, Jamaica or something like that as well. Kind of thing. Yeah. And actually it was interesting because I was kind of talking to them and they were like, you know, if there was just a way where you could flip those points into just normal, like Hilton hotel stay points, like it's not even like Hilton resort, right? Because that's a different ball game, but just regular old Hilton like points, that would be the best. I told him, I said, well, you could rent your points and then take that money and stay wherever you want.
Because RCI is brutal for the conversion, right?
Well, it's not even, look, for us that have had it longer, it really doesn't matter, right? And for them either, it really doesn't matter because once you've kind of, let's say, you know, air quote, major money, right? Like you kind of bought in and you're good. Yeah, the conversion doesn't really bother me personally so much, but I think the fact that you have to book RCI stuff out so far in advance, especially if you're talking holidays, and it is definitely limited in, you know, where you can go and what you can do, I think it becomes a little bit harder. But gosh, if there was some sort of like Hilton conversion, that would be the best. And it could even be like a hose you Hilton conversion, like RCI, right? Like, because once you've made your points and you're past that point already, it almost becomes irrelevant.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
So
it's interesting.
No, I think there's listeners out there that travel over Thanksgiving once a year. But you're right. That's what I need. I need another family like that.
I'm sure you'll find somebody. All right. Last question we have. What were you going to say, John?
Yeah, I was going to say, so this last one. So Nathan says, what are the top picks for Disney pretzels?
I mean, is there anything besides the one in Hollywood Studios?
What, which one are you talking about, Hollywood Studios? The one at Baseline Tap House? That one?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one looks really, I actually haven't had it, but it looks really
I have.
Yeah.
I'm totally missing the boat here, I guess, because I've not looked this far into pretzels.
Into pretzels? Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a Mickey pretzel fan. I feel like they're a little too soft. And I like and Damon, maybe this is like a northern thing, but like of like a pretzel with like a harder outside and a softer inside. Like I don't like a whole just soft, soggy pretzel. Like
it's got to have a texture difference for a good pretzel.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I also,
it's like a bagel. It's got to be almost like a bagel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I feel like any good pretzel has to come with some sort of beer cheese for me. I need a beer cheese.
I like mustard, but I could do it without anything too.
I could do it without anything too. Do you guys go salted or unsalted? Because I like salt.
I like salt, but I feel like what ends up happening is I'll take the salted one and then rub off half the salt, and then I'm good.
Yeah,
well, I don't like overly salted, so yeah.
I think that's my thing with pretzels is every time I've had them, yeah, like you said, Damon, there's always too much salt. So yeah, I think that's part of why I like at Disney in particular, I kind of ignore the pretzels because I'm just like, that's I don't want something really salty right now. But yeah.
This I just had to ask this question because it was food related, and I mean, I don't go out of my way to get pretzels at Disney all that often. So,
well, and I guess there's obviously something here. So for the listeners, let's hear it. Obviously you guys have looked into this a little bit, but if there's something we're missing here, please point it out because I'm curious.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, talk about it in the group for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a new category, a new segment we're going to have for the next couple weeks here called Fab 50 Watch. Since we were trying to guess all the Fab 50 characters, and they announced a bunch more, although the order that they're announcing these just seems really odd and random. Right? I mean, It's just strange.
How so? I mean, it just...
I kind of like it because you know which ones. Like, listen, it's showing that Goofy's going to be there. Like, that's not a surprise. So you got to have surprises without surprises.
Yeah.
Well, it's just weird that like Timon and Pumbaa was announced, I think, before Daisy Duck was, right?
But you know Daisy Duck is going to be in there, so it's not a surprise.
Of course, yeah.
But also Timon and Pumbaa before Simba.
That's an interesting thing.
Timon and Pumbaa are way cooler than Simba. Not even a question.
I don't.
Way more iconic too.
Yeah.
I mean, Simba's still going to be there, though.
I mean, maybe.
It's
only 50, man.
Timon and Pumbaa actually got their own cartoon after The Lion King.
But so did Simba. Well, he was in was that Guardians one?
Yeah, his kid got a cartoon. He didn't.
Yeah. I mean, he was still in it though.
Right.
I do think it's funny though, because we didn't think of that they were going to combine characters into one statue.
Absolutely,
so,
yeah.
Didn't think about that.
I almost think that's a cheat, to be honest with you.
About 50-ish.
50, yeah, more than 50, because, so the ones that have been announced... Go ahead, Trevor.
I said it's just more like 75 than 50,
yeah, exactly. So the ones that have been officially announced, Lumiere and Cogsworth are together on one. We have Timon and Pumbaa. We have Goofy. The Daisy Duck one was revealed, but during that reveal, they had posted a picture of the hub and kind of accidentally revealed. I mean, but we know that this is not a surprise to anybody. Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Pluto, Chip and Dale, Daisy, and Donald are all going to be in the hub at Magic Kingdom, it seems, which makes sense.
Yeah. Wait, did you skip over Figment?
I didn't. I purposely skipped over Figment. I was saving him for last.
Of course.
Technically, he hasn't been announced yet either, but the airport announcement, they did show a Figment statue, so...
I mean, until it's official, it's not official, right? Wouldn't that be the best if they were like, pulled back and be like, nah, that was just...
that was just for that one thing. It wasn't actually a statue.
Yeah.
But I feel like Figment's an obvious one, too, though. I feel there's no way they don't do a Figment one.
I feel like Figment's game is a little long in the tooth for a lot of people. Not me.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, as we come back and see all these... new revisions of Mickey, Minnie, Chip and Dale, Daisy, Donald. Where's Figment at?
Well, wasn't there like but remember though, like there was in that, One Day at Disney show that they showed them working on like some sort of Figment project where they were like redesigning Figment, but they No,
I'm saying, where's the cartoon? Where's the Figment cartoon?
Oh no, there needs to be there should be a Figment cartoon. I don't know why yeah, I mean, I don't know why there isn't. And I remember too, we talked about it on this podcast, like a couple of years ago, they were doing a survey asking about Figment, where a lot of people thought the Figment might just go away, which would be a terrible thing to do. Why would you do that?
I think he needs his own cartoon. I think he needs to step his game up. Where's the Disney Plus Figment? There definitely should be a Disney Plus Figment.
Yeah, that would actually be awesome, right?
Yeah,
they should
really
do that.
So the thing is that there's really no limit on what they could do with a Figment cartoon.
Absolutely. That's what makes it even better.
Yeah.
Probably makes it harder too, though, right? So, like,
I mean, you pick a format, it can either be just random stories or it could be following a semi-cohesive storyline. But, I mean, Figment's all over the place, right? So,
yeah. Just Figment getting into mischief, like that's...
yeah.
So that's I just put this as a watch because we speculated for so long on who was going to be there. So I don't think there's any surprises in here necessarily. Like I think
not yet.
No, I mean I think Timon and Pumbaa makes sense. I think
Lumiere Cogsworth is I feel like a stretch a little bit, but
a little bit maybe.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're focusing on like supporting characters in movies, which
yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, think about it, Trevor. Like, how many more people have to be in before them from that movie specifically?
I mean...
I think one of the Jeremys was saying if Gaston doesn't make it in...
If Gaston's not in, I'm going to be mad, too. That's when that should happen. That would be awesome.
I mean, yeah, technically, if you're talking in terms of prominent characters, Belle, Gaston, and Beast would all come
Wait, are they
before.
Are they doing Star Wars 2 in this or no?
They haven't said yet. I mean, we don't know.
Dude, I hope they don't. Like, that's too much then. Like, there's too many people in Star Wars that could be in there. I hope they don't.
Well, were you not on the episode when we were speculating about this statement? Was that the one with Becky? Okay. Because I was saying, do they have a baby Yoda or do they have Yoda?
Oh, maybe I wasn't then. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they just need to leave Star Wars out of this altogether.
I agree with you. I think there's enough stuff. If this is the way that they're looking at it, you know, there's easily, you know, 100 characters just from Disney IPs alone. Like they don't even have to go at Pixar.
Oh yeah, but they will go to Pixar, right? Like I fully expect the Pixar characters to show up in Hollywood studios. Like I'm assuming that's where they're going to be.
Yeah. I'm betting there's going to be one announcement that's just going to be all the princesses. Because
you mean like all at once? They're just going to announce it?
They're going to be like, you know, here's all the princesses in the Fab 50.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
And one's going to get left out that everyone's going to be like, really? Like I'm not sure which one, but it'll be like everyone else will get it, and it'll be something weird like Jasmine or something will get left out.
You think so?
Yeah, like it won't make sense. That I just get the feeling that that's how this is going to go.
I feel like Treasure Planet's totally going to get left out, and there's going to be like a small group of people that are going to be mad, and that for whatever reason people forget that movie bombed. I don't know why. But
yeah, I mean, sorry, it did not do well at all. I mean, I liked it. It was but.
Yeah,
same with Atlantis, right?
That movie has its like group of hardcore fans that will be very mad about that.
They can all protest around the golden statues.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Anyway, it's funny if you Google Treasure Planet, you know how it has the people ask section and it has little drop downs, and the first couple results, why is Treasure Planet flopped, which is not proper English, but then also, is Treasure Planet a good movie? just had to laugh about that. Anyway, so we'll have more updates on this as this stuff comes out, and you know, we'll keep talking about it, because I do think it's an interesting conversation. I think it's interesting how they're picking these, and I do think it's, like Damon said, a little bit of a cheat to have doubles, you know, to have two characters in one. But yeah, you know, these are characters that also go together, right? So
until they do like, here's the Toy Story statue, and it's just like, you know, all the characters.
How are they going to do Toy Story? There's so many iconic characters in Toy Story. Like, you can't just have it be like Woody, Buzz, and you know, Jesse. Like, you can't. You got to have more than that.
But they just did Timon and Pumbaa and Lumiere and Cogsworth. So
yeah,
nothing's off the table.
Like, there's so many characters in Toy Story that they have to have in there. I don't know.
I think they're going to ignore Pixar. But anyway,
you think so?
Yeah, I think they are.
That'd be interesting. We'll have to see. All right, let's go ahead and do our ad for DVC Rental Store. How's that sound?
Okay.
And then we'll talk about other stuff. All right, so DVC Rental Store. The DVC Rental Store, a World of DVC company, offers magical vacations at incredible value. Save up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. DVC Rental Store now includes deposits as low as 25% at the time of booking and a built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. And as always, DVC Rental Store pays out the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 1-855-382-7368. And of course, let them know that Welcome Home sent you. All right, so I kind of mentioned this before, but so the Orlando Airport's going to put in an art installation and photo op around the 50th anniversary. It's kind of weird, though, in this announcement. It almost makes it seem like the airport is doing it, like, but obviously not, right? Like,
well, it's a partnership thing, right?
Yeah, but they made it seem like in the announcement, it just makes it kind of seem like, you know, the airport's like, we're doing this for Disney. It's like, come on now. We know that Disney's doing this. But it looks cool. It's got Figment. It's got, you know, there's some cool stuff here. Not that it matters to Damon and I, because we'll never see it. So,
well, I'll take pictures when I'm there in February so you guys can see it. Yeah.
They're also going to theme the trams too, I think, right? Well, let me see here.
Yeah, those are there. So the picture there is that's the tram loading area.
It's the station, but are the trams themselves also going to be themed? I thought I read that. Maybe I'm.
I mean, the trams are pretty open. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's much you could really do in terms of theming, unless they did it over. I guess they could do it over the glass. But.
Yeah, I mean, like one of those, like what they do with the monorail sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where they throw the stuff on the outside.
The wrap on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose they could.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're doing that or not. I might have just made that up. I thought it was in the announcement, but maybe I'm reading it wrong. The experience will feature Disney characters, iridescent light patterns, and a photo op with a recreation of a Disney ride vehicle. I don't know what that means.
Which
maybe that's when I said a recreation. When I read that, maybe I was thinking that they were going to skin the vehicle, but
yeah, I was going to say which ride vehicle. I mean, that could be everything down to just one of the cars on Main Street.
Could be a million things. So yeah, that's a good question. All right, well, that was a quick topic, right? Like we don't need to talk about that too much, but at least it's
moving on.
Cool. And now for the poster. What do you guys want to talk about this or read this? I know Damon's excited about this, so.
Okay, so yeah, the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser opening in 2022. They've released a poster on the Disney blog, and they did kind of a breakdown of all the different things that are in the poster and what they mean. Like basically they're kind of explaining the stuff that you would do on the Galactic Starcruiser, which I should point out that they say it's a 2-day excursion, which I thought.
Wait, is it 2-day or 2-night? It's 2 nights.
It says 2 nights, so 3 days, 2 nights. Yeah. Which makes sense. They'll probably have like a reset day, right? So it'll be 3 days, 2 nights, and then 1 day that they don't have anybody in there, right? Or I guess they could overlap, right?
I don't know.
I don't know how they're going to do that. I guess we'll find out.
I mean, it's going to be set up like a cruise, like a regular cruise ship. So I would think that they'd probably have to go in and have a day.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, for all we know, might need a week in between, and we have no idea.
That's
true. Or
true.
maybe they're planning to run it at half capacity, so they can, or they can offset it so that people are coming in and out at different points, but they can like shut off different areas of it. I don't know. Because that's
the
one
whole
thing
thing
that
will be open, though.
I think I see what you're saying, Trevor. I think the problem with that is probably dining, though.
Right.
Because I think it looks like or sounds like there's going to be dining like you would at a cruise ship. So you're going to kind of meet at a central location for dining. I'm sure there's going to be a show involved in that dining those 2 nights as well.
Well, they said there's going to be like a dinner show.
I really wouldn't be surprised if you see at least 2 days in between each one. Kind of almost thinking maybe they run on a week so that you have these 3 days, and then maybe there's going to be 4 days off and then they reset. I mean, it just depends. It's just really going to depend on how long it takes for them to reset up.
Yeah, that'll be interesting because they'll probably have at least one arrival day that's like a weekend day or like a Friday or something like that. And then one that's in the middle of the week, right? So
maybe. And I mean, the nice thing is at least it's different from a cruise ship where you don't like all the food and all the stuff that they need is right there.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier.
That's true.
I like the best part about this is that I'm loving the fact that it seems like people are going to be dressed up, even passengers.
Yep.
I'm digging that. Now, what does that mean? I think based on what we're going to see price-wise, that's going to be part of what you take away. So you're going to
do you get the costume to bring with you? Like it's part of what you're buying?
I have to imagine that that's what will happen.
Interesting.
I think the cost is going to be pretty high up there. I think what you're going to be looking at for something like this is definitely a cruise price. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to look at something like $3,000 for the first person. I mean, it's not going to be surprising to me. So I think within those constraints, I think that you can, eat that $100. I think you're going to get a costume. I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, because I mean, they're even showing people at dinner wearing like Star Wars type costumes.
I mean, now I start to wonder, will you get 2, one for each day?
Yeah, that's it.
I'm not even sure. Is there laundry? Do you need space laundry? Like, I don't know.
So, I mean, we'll have to find out, right? I mean, it's gonna.
But I love that. Like, I love that you're all in, like, as part of this story rather than just being like watching a story, right? Yeah. And I think that was kind of the game plan.
Exactly. You're part of the story, not just a viewer of the story. You're literally in the story.
So here's my problem with that. Particularly with me and my son, we are at odds in terms of our preference for sides.
Your affiliations.
Like these people are as well, though. I mean, they're four different people.
Yeah. So yeah, they're showing, the youngling with the Jedi robes, an adult dressed in the First Order officer's uniform. And it's like, yeah, my son, unfortunately, he would be a First Order person and I would be on the Rebel/Jedi side. So it just doesn't work.
But I think what they're going to do is that they're going to piece that together. And that maybe when you're at events, you'll be on separate sides during the events, but not so much, obviously, during the, walking around eating phases is my guess. Because,
maybe
I understand
they assume
what you're
everybody
saying.
wants to be rebels. Maybe they think everybody wants to be on the rebel side, though.
Oh, no,
There's have somebody as in uniform as a first officer.
Yeah, but maybe that's
officer.
One of the actors that's going to be there.
No,
I think the four people at the center are people that are going to that.
Yeah, they explicitly said those are the travelers. So they're emphasizing that you get to, they're fully expecting people to pick their role on the ship. But like I said, the interesting thing that comes in there is how much is that going to affect, if you're traveling with your group and your group is split on what
maybe your group can't be split. Wouldn't that be awesome?
They actually said right in there, they actually say right in the description, do you want to support the First Order, live like a Jedi in training, or perhaps become a member of high galactic society? It's all waiting for you to discover. So yeah, you're right. That you can choose sides. So
I mean, that would make sense though. And look, as a parent, I'm just going to go with whatever my kids want to do. I mean, even if that's not what I want to do. So I'm okay with that. But I think that would be way easier then. But how do they balance a ship out? Like, what if everyone wants to be one thing? What if it's just overrun by Jedi and rebels?
Then I guess Jedi training's going to be really busy that week.
Well,
yeah,
maybe it's just small enough of maybe they just have, small enough of a hotel that they doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Maybe you're just randomly assigned. Maybe that's just life. Like, hey, this is what you are. I mean, that's going to make people mad. But again, what if everyone was just a galactic traveler?
But in this,
what if everyone
it's
decided
all waiting there for you to discover and decide. So it sounds like you have to make a decision based on this description. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what if you were just everyone's just a member of Galactic Society and there's no Jedi, no First Order people at all?
You're just like somebody
it's possible.
Lightsaber, and they're like, get ready for training.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, mathematics says it's possible. So
like the cast members in Batu that are just like, citizens of Batu.
Well, and you know what's interesting though is that maybe what it is, it's a supplemented cast member situation. So everyone picks what they want to do. They look at the numbers and go, all right, this week you're going to be this, right? So every cast member might be trained in each part of that, and that's how they balance it out.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah.
Yeah, they can
I'm excited.
They can probably adjust. I'm sure they have different scenarios figured out so that if it's heavy one week to one side or the other, they can shift what they're doing, right?
Well, maybe even need to pick ahead of time. Like maybe even need to pick when you check in, a couple weeks ahead of time.
That might be interesting. What I'm thinking though is that I'm hopeful that this food is top notch. I mean, because Disney cruise food is top notch, and I'm hoping with this price that the food is just as big of an experience as the rest of it. And again, I hope that price point is not that low. Like I hate to say it, but I want it somewhere where it's, that experience is going to stay a little bit, top notch. Like I want everything to be good. I want that food to be great. I want the experience to be great. Maybe I want 2 uniforms, as First Order, right? And I get to keep them when I leave. Do that. That's what I'm looking for.
For the dining room being called the Crown of Corellia, it better be really good.
Better be good, yeah.
It better be really, really good, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be top notch, right? Like for the cost, people are going to
don't know the cost is the problem. I wish we knew the cost.
We know it's going to be expensive, right? Maybe.
Yeah, I feel like for the cost, if whatever that is, you're right, Damon. If they're going to hand you a uniform of some sort, you'd better be able to keep that uniform. Like it better not be.
What I'm saying.
Drop off your stuff on the way out.
Drop off your 3D glasses in the bin on the way
out. Yeah, that's totally true.
I'm signing up the first day this opens. So if someone knows there's openings, send me a message because I'm in day one. I already told the kids I will pull you out of school. Only my boys want to go. And we're in. Nice. We're in when it opens.
Yeah, nice. My son and I are going to be figuring this out. My wife, unfortunately, she's told me flat out, she's like, that's not my thing, which made me a little sad.
Well,
but
Trevor, you know what's nice though? I'm digging the fact that there's Rise of the Resistance built into it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It makes me, again, so for me, my next trip in November, I kind of feel like I don't even care because I'm going to see it when I see this. So
yeah, you can plan for, a trip on the Starcruiser. You're guaranteed that. And then if you do decide to go to Hollywood Studios after that, it's kind of like, whatever. Like, I don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though, too, though. Like, because the whole story of Rise of the Resistance is that you're like rebels and you get picked up and, like how do you do that if you choose the side?
But you don't know what part of that story though, and again, never being on it, but I'm assuming that part of that story could be changed depending on the actors and actresses leading you through it.
Not really. So I don't know. I mean,
couldn't you be on the other side even if they lose?
No, because the whole thing is you're like escaping the Starcruiser that you're on. Like you're trying to get away from, like, I don't know.
They could premise the, for people that choose the First Order that you're acting as a spy or something like that.
Oh, yeah, they could do that. Yeah.
They can do things to like pre-establish.
That's fair. That's smart. Yeah. That's a good point. You could do it that way. I'm sure they'll have ways around these things. Right?
Just like you have branching story paths, you can have those story paths reconvene back all on something if you needed to.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. All right, then. Anything else we want to say about this? I mean, I think the lightsaber training piece on this poster looks kind of cool. I mean, we don't know what that's going to really look like, but everything looks very cool on the poster.
Like, yeah, it's all very cool, but I'm curious now more than ever. Everyone's like, oh, you're going to do lightsaber training, but if you pick one of these other storylines or roles on the ship, what are you doing? Like,
do you still get to do lightsaber training? Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't if you're not a Jedi. Why would they just hand you a lightsaber, right? Like, I feel like there's got to be something like you have to. Yeah, I'm curious to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah, because if you're a First Order officer, you're not going to be doing lightsaber training, right?
Yeah,
like
you'll be doing like blaster training or something.
I mean, maybe they have that too. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Or maybe you have maybe you just have a different teacher, right? Like maybe you end up having like Kylo Ren teaching you how to use like a lightsaber, so you can use it. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure there's ways around all these things.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll find out. But I'm glad they released this poster. I think there's a lot of cool details in it. I do think it's interesting that they explain the poster instead of letting people just kind of discover it. But because usually they'll put that stuff out and be like, "Ooh, mystery!" Like you have to figure this out. But I guess for this type of thing, it makes sense to give more details.
Yeah, I think they're trying to arm people with as much info ahead of time as possible because this isn't going to be, to Damon's point, this isn't going to be a cheap thing. So
no.
You have to be pretty certain that you want to do it.
I do have to say they have done an excellent job of hyping this thing. Like little releases at a consistent basis. I mean, ever since they announced it, we just get little bits and pieces, and it just builds the hype for so long. So
anyway, speaking of little bits and pieces, we've got more shows coming back.
Yeah.
So what is it? We've got Beauty and the Beast live on stage, Turtle Talk with Crush, Monsters Inc. Laugh For, and Wonderful World of Animation all have return dates.
Which the Wonderful World of Animation, if you guys don't remember that one, that was just like a little almost like a mini projection show on Hollywood Studios on the Chinese theater. So
I thought there was fireworks alongside that as well.
A little bit of fireworks. It's not like a full on fireworks show. There's like a couple fireworks, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like I don't even remember how many, but it's just a few. It's not like the Star Wars one they were doing for a while, where there was is kind of like a proper fireworks show, and this is more of like a couple fireworks here and there.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't really care that much about Beauty and the Beast coming back. It's one we would go to occasionally, but on Laugh Floor, I haven't done it in a while because I kept getting picked so many times. I stopped wanting to go. So,
wait, so because you keep getting picked for audience participation. You don't want
Yes.
to participate anymore.
I think it was like 3 times in a row I got picked, and I was like,
Wow.
all right, I'm done with this for now. Like, I'm not doing whatever. I'm trying to remember the stuff they used to do. It's been so long. Is there one where they make you dance? There's like, there's a couple different things they have you do, and I'm just like, I need a break from that one. So Laugh Floor's back August 8th. August 21st, Turtle Talk is back. I do like Turtle Talk with Crush.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's always been a fun one. It's yeah. But I guess the thing about these is, that like we talked about on the previous episode, getting back to fully open, this is for me, Beauty and the Beast. And it's silly because, it's just technically it's the closest thing to Phantasmic in terms of like just physically closest thing.
Sure. It's literally physically close to Phantasmic. Yes.
Yeah. So to me, it's like, hey, if they're doing that, maybe Phantasmic will be back soonish, right? So
I'm trying to think of the shows that are still missing. It's like Indiana Jones and the Finding Nemo show, right?
Yeah, Finding Nemo.
Indiana Jones, Phantasmic.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that's missing at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's going to write in and be like, "This one's missing."
The Up show running in Animal Kingdom?
That's a good question. I don't know actually. Now you can make me Google this.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would be another one. Again, same thing. That one's, I shouldn't say it's easier because, they still have to hire, a certain amount of cast members for it, but it's mostly birds. So
that one is still unavailable.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not that they have to hire back the birds.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but they do have actors, I guess, for that one. It's probably just more of, Yeah. But yeah, you're right. But yeah, so there's really only a couple things left that aren't open. I mean, at this point, pretty much everything else is open that I can think of. I'm sure somebody will come back to us and be like, "No, this thing's not open." And I'll be like, "All right,
yeah,
sorry,
that one." There's another show we're forgetting. Sorry, but
I'm sure.
Honestly, I don't do a lot of shows. Like my preference, there's probably about 3 shows that I actually care about watching at Disney.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so now what do you think of these new rooms, the Moana rooms at Polynesian? Now that we got a full look at them, we got a tease before, but now we got like full views of the new Moana rooms.
Yeah, so I think it's great. Kind of the same we were talking about with the Contemporary Resort. They're doing it in such a way that it still definitely has that Disney feel to it, but it's not like the over the top cartoony kind of stuff, right? Like, I like it. The only, or again, my wife and I talked about this. It's like, well, that's great for people staying at the Polynesian proper, but for the DVC rooms, this doesn't matter because the DVC rooms are separate. But I was gonna say I'm hopeful that we'll actually get some renos done to the DVC rooms here in the next couple of years to kind of match it up with this or do something similar, right?
Yeah, I really that would be really great if they did, because these rooms look fantastic. Like you said, it's very much they're really well done. I mean, it's subtle and not so subtle, but like I like, a lot of it is the patterns of from Moana, a lot is like the art from Moana, and then there's just more subtle, subtleties to it. But like even like the shower tiles are patterned. I mean, it just looks really cool. Yeah, I really like it. It's a nice redesign overall. I think for the price that you'd pay for a cash stay at Polynesian, I think this probably lives up to the price, right?
I will say too, the hotel or in the hallways of the hotel, the hallways looked really awful before. I'll admit.
Now they look good now.
Yeah, like even looking at the hallway carpet, they've added in that little bit of color, and it looks like they've brightened up the paint and everything, so it doesn't look so much like a cave.
I also like, though, too, like, this is going to sound dumb, but the little benches at the end of the bed, big fan of that. They should do that everywhere. That should just exist everywhere. Like, I really like those. This whole room is really, really nice. Like, just all the designs, the Moana stuff, the little subtle stuff, but like the whole room redesign in general just looks really, really good.
So you'll say that about the bench until you kick it one morning when you get up.
Oh, I probably would. But so, yeah. So I think this looks cool. I'm glad that they did this. It's really kind of a nice redesign, I think.
Yeah, it's very, like, I know it's Moana, but it's Polynesian. Like it has that very just Polynesian feel to it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Even though the Moana stuff is in there, it overall just kind of fits in, right? So. Yeah. Also, I noticed too, like, and this is kind of weird. I thought, did you see the fold down bed thing that they have? It's not like the Murphy beds in the wall. It's just like the back part of the couch comes down and is a bed. Like, it's not a pull out bed. It's just like it's weird. I don't think I've seen one like that before.
Oh, I see. I'm just, the back just that flips down.
Now, yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out what you were talking about. Yeah, it's like a flip down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the back cushion just flips down and now it's a bed. It's like, okay, that's interesting. I guess it's better than the pull out. And I mean, I don't know if it's better than the Murphy beds that come from the wall, but I mean, it's not bad. So I just have never seen that before.
Yeah. It's, I find that they're, it's the same thing with, they did something like that in the Riviera Resort too, right? With one of the pull down beds.
No, I think they have the don't they have the pull down ones from the wall?
I thought there was a couch pull down as well.
What? Maybe. No, I think the pull down, the Murphy bed, it is the couch pull down, but it's in the wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
A lot of the rooms have just like the one person bed that comes down from under the TVs, like, from the furniture there. And I think the Riviera rooms have that too. I'd have to look, but I think those have that too. The one that's under the TV that has like the little pull down. So, yeah.
But again, those are more DVC specific. Since this is a non-DVC room, true. I feel they're not holding themselves to that. Yeah.
Yeah, a little different.
Yeah.
All right. So the last topic I have on here was surprising and not surprising, I guess. We kind of talked about this, Trevor, a couple of weeks ago. We speculated on this, didn't we?
Yeah, which I mean, yeah, I hope that this wasn't the case, but so with Happily Ever After and EPCOT going away at the 50th, that is actually the end of those shows. EPCOT Forever, we knew that was temporary. Yeah, we knew that was temporary. We knew that was a space filler until Harmonious came online. Happily Ever After, I feel it got screwed a little bit, honestly.
Yeah, it's just odd to me that it's only 4 years old and they're just retiring it. I mean,
and really only ran for like 3 years because
of the pandemic, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting to me that they're retiring it because I get the Enchantment one is going to go on for 18 months, right? So like that's going to be for a whole year and a half, right? And in that time, they can develop a new show, right? But it just feels like 4 years is pretty short for Disney for a nighttime show. Considering, I mean, I don't know how long Wishes ran, but it was a lot longer than 4 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't Wishes run for like a good 10 years?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was quite a while, And I mean, and then you have Illuminations, which was 20 some years, right? I mean, it was. It's just weird that, especially a show like this, it's not like people hate this show. This is a pretty beloved show, I think, right?
Yeah, and I gotta wonder, like the wording on so the way that they phrased it was that Happily Ever After is going to stop on September 29th. So what they've and I feel. I know the communication was, there's going to be no more Happily Ever After as of the first because, they're running the new show. But I got to wonder if they're just stating it that way just so that there's no confusion from people thinking that during the 50th that you may get a chance to catch Happily Ever After instead of Enchantment. So
I did see somebody post, though, like in the app now, it says Happily Ever After - last chance to see it before it ends or something like that. Like they're like advertising now that it's ending.
Right. But
is it ending permanently? Like,
I feel like, again, maybe we'll see how this goes after the 50th is done. I don't want to say that it's going to be completely gone forever because, it may be one of these things where, they run enchantment for a year and a half for the 50th. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, happily ever after is returning. And then, everyone's going to be all excited about that. But
it's like every time they brought back like the Main Street Electrical Parade, right? Like how many times did they say that was done? Right? And then they kept bringing it back.
Shows. Who really cares? I say watch them on YouTube and call it a day.
90% of the people that go to Disney.
No, I would not say 90% of the people.
I disagree with you there, Damon, because watching on YouTube is not the same as watching it in the hub.
Yeah, but I don't know if I agree with Tom's assessment. I don't think 90% of the people care.
I just threw a number out there. I wasn't being serious.
Yeah.
90% of the time, I'm 50% right.
Okay, yeah. 90% of statistics are made up. So, no, I know what you're saying, David. I know you don't care, but a lot of people do care about this. It's sad for a lot of people, especially, I know Trevor, you like the show a lot too, and you're not going to get to see it again, maybe,
And I'm okay with that. I can deal with that. It would be nice if it did come back, but it doesn't invalidate the fact that I've enjoyed it multiple times. So
exactly.
Yeah. If this is truly the end of it, it sucks. But I also know that, I'm sure I'm going to watch this new show and I'm going to love it as well. Just, I've yet to be disappointed with any nighttime show to the point where I'm like, well, I'm never going to watch that again.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's interesting though, too, like with like the current construct of these Disney shows, right? Like they can change them so easily. Right. When I say easily, I mean, like not overnight, but right. With these projection shows, and the fireworks that accompany them, I mean, they can update these fairly frequently if they wanted to. Right. I mean, they can update the projections. And of course, I think part of this too is that they're now going to have the projections on Main Street for Enchantment. I'm sure they're going to want the new show to take advantage of that too. Right.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, given they could have kept Happily Ever After and just added to it. Right. But if you look at it, I didn't put this in here, but they just put up the 50th, the circular, I don't know, what would you call it? The thing that goes over the clock that says 50th on the castle.
The emblem.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. Yeah, that sounds right. But they just put that up. And then I saw that after they put it up, that they had modified Happily Ever After to accommodate that. Like they had changed, like literally, now they have effects specifically for that 50th thing, even though it's ending in, 3 months here or 2 months, right? So they can change these things even for a short period of time. They literally change the projections for just the 2 months that medallion is going to be up there. So, maybe that's how they're looking at it. Now, given more than just the projections go into a show like this, right? There's the fireworks pieces, the lighting, there's the music, right? They take time to put
audio
music
recording,
together.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that goes into these shows, but they'll have a whole 18 months if they haven't started already, working on a new show. And I think maybe part of it is that they want to have a new show ready for after the 50th is over, so they have a new thing to tell people to come and see, right? Because it's like once the glow of the 50th wears off, they're going to want to have another thing. It's like, hey, the 50th is over, but we have this new thing that you can come see. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just thinking of it, why they would do this.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. The whole thing around the 50th is it's a big change. It's a big to do, and then. I feel like, to a certain degree, Disney doesn't want to get back in that mode of running a show for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
Because, as much, people get attached to it, but then there's also the risk of it becoming dated, right?
Yeah. They want to keep things fresher. And I think they should, right? As technology advances and, I watched that Behind the Attraction, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if either one of you watched Behind the Attraction, but I watched it.
I haven't watched it yet.
I binged it. Not gonna lie, watched it in one sitting. It was good, but I still like the Imagineering story better. I did find some things out that I did not know. Right, watching the Behind the Attraction. So
I remember.
What's that?
Didn't I say that was going to happen?
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. There were some things like, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody that's watching it, but like, there's a whole thing with Joe Rohde where is like, they used him as a model for sculptures that are on one of the foreign parks, Tower of Terror building. And I was like, I didn't know that. Like, that's new news to me. And it was pretty funny. But it was also like, if anybody's watched the Netflix series, the movies that made us or the toys that made us, it's the same people that made this show. And it's the same style where it's kind of like goofy and funny. And, you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, self-referential. Like, there's a lot of interesting things they do with the show. But Imagineering Story is more like documentary format. I almost feel like it's behind the music versus pop-up video, you know, like, right. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like that kind of, and that might be an outdated reference for anybody that, you know, has been born in the past 20 years. But, it's definitely good. And there were some interesting things in there, but, you know, there's a lot of crossover of those two things. But, you know, one of the things they talk about in the Imagineering Story a lot is just trying to keep up, you know, just trying to keep up with technology and trying to keep up with, you know, a lot of the new things that are going on. And I have to believe that the next show, the next iteration of the nighttime show at Magic Kingdom is going to involve a lot of the patents we've seen over the past couple of years. Like, maybe they're finally ready to do the drones, right? They're finally ready to do stuff with the drones at Magic Kingdom. And that's what the next iteration is going to include, right? We're going to see stuff with drones. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the Olympic opening ceremony, but they had like 1,800 drones make like an entire world and like, you know, an actual globe and like spin, like, and that was amazing to watch. And like, that's the kind of stuff people expect at Disney too. And so I fully expect whatever the next iteration of this is going to be to include that kind of stuff. That's just my guess. I don't really know, but I'm just thinking, you know, thinking of what I think the next iteration of the nighttime show is going to be.
I don't disagree with you there that it's going to be a lot more iterations and a lot faster. I guess my only hope is, you know, like you said, you know, they modified Happily Ever After to account for things changing. And, you know, it would be nice if they had something as like the core of a show. Yeah. And then, you know, you can iterate or you can change pieces of it, but you don't have to keep reinventing the show every time. Yeah. Because I guess my only thing with that is, yeah, you know, there is something to be said for the tradition of it and something to be said for, you know, giving something to people that, you know, they know what to expect, right? Like, sure. Like, I know we've come a long way from, it used to be just fireworks. Like a long time ago, it was just, they do fireworks at night. Nobody, you know, there wasn't like, you know, crazy projections. There wasn't cued music or anything like that. Well, like, it was
Wishes was literally just like, you know, it was like the purplish color on the castle. That was it. It was just, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like it was just, yeah. So there is a lot of evolution there. I just hope that, you know, they don't get lost in trying to do the latest technology thing. Sure. And they lose what, you know, people are going there for. Like,
no, I get that, but I think they can do like the drone stuff and still have people be like into that, right? Like,
oh yeah,
depending on how they use it. I mean, depending on how they use it, right?
Yeah. The interesting thing about drones is that they can't fly them over top of where people are. Yeah. So, you know, in terms of Magic Kingdom, you know, they have a very limited airspace they can use, and you know, it may be the kind of thing where, if there's like even the slightest wind, you may get a fireworks / projection show and no drones. Like,
yeah, well, like that's the same thing with Tinkerbell now, right? Like, so Tinkerbell doesn't fly when it's windy out, like when it's super windy out, right? So sometimes you just lose that piece of the show, right?
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, I don't think any of us have any idea, and I think they're going to be laser focused on Disney Enchantment. I don't think they're even going to announce what's coming until after the 50th is over, or right at the end.
Guaranteed, we'll probably hear something about the next show. I would guess like September of next year. Yeah, we'll hear about it, but then it'll be like another 6 months before the show actually comes online, because traditionally, Disney has, like, you know, this is the 50th anniversary year. It's going to run for a year and a half. So you won't see anything new come online until, probably January of 2023, I'm guessing.
Yeah. They don't want to distract. They don't want to distract from the 50th stuff.
But they even at that they drag it out. Like it's like it'll be past October 1st next year, and they'll still be like, hey, you can still enjoy the 50th.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I think that's everything. I think we can wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
Unless, Damon, there's anything else you want to talk about? Unless you...
No, I can't believe I stayed for the whole thing. I did have other things to do online, so I guess it wasn't all that unproductive, but...
I wasn't even sure if you were still there or not.
Well, I knew he was because Damon will tell us when he needs to leave.
Absolutely.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. All right. Well, anything else you want to talk about, Damon?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, listen, please check out the shirts if you haven't. I mean, we can mention that in here, but haunted.welcomehomepodcast.com. That's your place to get shirts. So the haunted, why do I keep wanting to say haunted mansion? Haunted River Country shirts. One more week here, so please go get them if you want them.
Only available till Saturday. So if you're listening to this on Monday, you have until Saturday to decide to buy your shirt. So
exactly.
And again, it helps us to do things in the future. Like I said, we're not trying to make money off these shirts, just to do more stuff for the listeners because it's fun for us. So it's a contribution to the podcast itself.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that, right? Like we don't like line our pockets with this stuff. This is not what we do, right? Like
this is not our shirt empire plan.
No,
by any means.
No, it helps us make the next one, and our goal is to hopefully do just 2 a year, right? I think it's fun that they get vaulted, because then it kind of makes it a little bit exclusive, right? That's kind of cool. If we see somebody with a Haunted River Country shirt 4 years from now, we kind of know they're an OG, right? Like they're an original podcast listener, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I mean, we're going to do a meetup next year, so some of what we get from the Patreon is probably going to go to stuff for the meetup. I mean, like we're going to
bring stuff,
Yeah, the money we get from this stuff, like it's not we don't pay ourselves, and we never have. Like occasionally we allow ourselves a small extravagance, but nothing like we don't pay ourselves. We just don't.
No,
do it.
I mean, I expect us to bring, if we do have a meetup, we'll bring stickers, shirts, hats, all that sort of stuff, and that contributes to things like that. So,
yeah, exactly. So anyway, let's wrap up, Trevor.
All right. So as usual, if you guys want to reach out to us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love getting your emails. You guys share a lot of great trip stories with us. You guys ask us great questions. All around, just it's a good way to get a hold of us, a good way to interact with us. If you want to interact with us on Facebook, you can also find us there as Welcome Home Podcast. Same thing applies. We talk to you guys all the time on Facebook. We got a lot of great conversations going with our listeners. And also, if you are on Facebook, make sure you look for Welcome Home Disney Waitlist and join our group if you haven't already. Lots of listeners in there. There's memes that get posted in there. People post their trip reports. We get great pictures from people like Charles posted in there recently with his trip. Again, he does fantastic photos if you haven't seen those.
I'm digging all the pictures that people are posting of them in their shirts. Like I'm really enjoying that. It's been cool.
That's the current thing right now too. Is everyone sharing their shirts that they got, which that's super cool to see that. As much as I'm kind of
jealous that you don't have one.
I'm complaining, but I also fully knew that this was going to be the case, and I'm not actually mad about it. Yeah. But I'll get my shirt eventually. But I'm glad that you guys are getting yours and you're enjoying it. And if you haven't joined the group yet, come join the group because, it's worthwhile.
Agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you want to follow us on YouTube or Instagram, our YouTube is Welcome Home Podcast and our Instagram is Welcome Home Pics. Those are the channels where as we're getting back to normal here and we're actually able to book some trips, we're going to be posting more on those channels. So make sure you follow them.
When are we doing a video show again?
That's a good question.
We can do it. Do we
do it at episode 150?
Yeah, we can do it then.
Yeah.
We can.
I feel like that's more.
That's kind of lining up with Halloween again, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of feel like we should do another Halloween episode live. I think that was fun.
Yeah.
I could do that. I could get down with that.
That was such a hot mess episode with like people just popping in and their Halloween costumes.
Absolutely,
so great. It was excellent. I would love to do that again. I think that was a lot of fun. So maybe we'll do that.
All right. Yeah. So again, join the YouTube channel. Keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. Last but not least, we already talked about the Haunted River Country shirts, but if you want any of the Welcome Home Podcast logo merch, go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com. You can pick up t-shirts, mugs, all that kind of stuff. Again, it's all going towards the podcast being able to do stuff. This isn't just,
I'm going to sell my 101 shirts for like $500 each, like Off-White Supreme style. Yeah. But besides that,
so Damon has a side thing, but really the store is entirely just so that we can keep doing this show. It's not that we're paying ourselves or anything. But this is just entirely for the show. So if you want to support
Except
us,
for the shirt that Damon's making for himself, that's just for him.
Like I said, he can do his side thing, but so if you want to support the show, pick up something from the store. Last but not least, if you would like to leave a review on iTunes or any other service that you're using to listen to this podcast, please do so. We do see those reviews. We do read them. We enjoy, obviously we would like more 5-star reviews than not 5-star reviews, but we definitely appreciate constructive criticism.
We're still at 4 or 5. I feel like with 200 reviews and like almost 3,100 people in the group.
Yeah.
Come on, can we get a little help?
Reviews.
Yeah, can we get some more 5-star reviews? I think Tom would just feel better at 4.6. I know he would.
A lot better at 4.6. Yeah.
See, help Tom.
I feel a lot better at 5.0. So
that's never going to happen.
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
And you're not even going to get 4.7. If we hover at 4.6, but we're at 4.5, and that hurts Tom, I think, deeply.
It does. It really does.
and really, you don't even need to write anything. Just click the 5 stars and don't even write anything if you want. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what was the one that we got where it was 5 stars, but they said we were boring?
I'll take that.
That was the one that said that we were boring was a 1 star, but there was another one that said this is the best Disney podcast I listened to, 1 star, and that was a 1 star. And it was like that one was years ago though. That was many years ago. I wish we could purge some of the old ones, but
maybe they thought that 1 was the top or something.
Best.
I don't know.
Yeah, number 1. They're number 1.
We're number 1, like Donald Duck. Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. But yeah, please give us 5-star reviews. And also don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any place you can find podcasts. You can find us. Just search for Welcome Home and look for the one that says DVC. Damon, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, this is going to be, unless like the train comes off the rails, this will be our best month.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was my special episode, I'm just going to say.
Yeah.
That's what it is, yeah.
But outside of that.
How could it not have been your special episode? Yeah.
Of course. But I think we'll actually have our best month.
Yeah. In a long time, anyway.
In a long time or ever, we can't tell because Tom's too cheap to pay for full stats. So
That's true.
That is absolutely true.
Buy a shirt so we can pay for it.
Yeah, there you go. Contribute to full stats.
As CEO of Welcome Home Podcast, there are tough decisions I have to make sometimes. All right. Anyway, just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company. You threw me off now, Damon. And as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult a DVC representative or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to DVC Rental Store for sponsoring this episode. Please go check them out. And if you do, make sure you mention Welcome Home. And of course, join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion and more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.